Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. We got a new Rumble patch yesterday and that patch started the Malfurion event, but it also had some other stuff in it that was not documented. So first of all, there's quest changes that are live already now, and second, the patch already contains data about the next leaders, Anub'arak and Orgrim Doomhammer, which have now been data mined. Of course, that can still change and it's not all clear, but I'm going to take a look at that as well. But first, the quest changes which are already live, and some of these are obviously very obvious once you enter a quest and see, hey, where does all that XP come from? So quest XP, basic quest XP has been increased from 250 to 450. That's the non-booster value. So plus 80%. And that affects green quests, blue quests, purple quests, and XP from PvP wins. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that now gives you more XP. Also, there are now more daily quests available, because the daily quests you now get 20 daily quests every day instead of 10 that you used to get, whereas the overall quest cap remains at 300. The daily XP cap from PvP and quests remains at 50,000, so that's now a little bit easier to reach. However, there's also an undocumented nerf, which is that rare quest chance has been dropped from 20% to 10%, and epic quest chance has been dropped from 5% to 2.5%. So overall, you now need to win an average of 8 games in PvP in order to reroll into a better quest. So you have a green quest, you can go to PvP, every time you win, it rerolls, and now you need an average of 8 PvP wins in order to reroll a better quest, whereas previously you only needed 4. However, PvP mix is still the best way to reach the XP cap if you really want to gain XP and grind for XP in Warcraft Rumble. PvP mix, doing PvP, winning games until you get a blue or purple quest, then doing the quest and then going back to PvP. Still the best way. If you just do that uninterrupted, you're going to get around 16% more XP than you used to get for the same time spent. So yay, that's great, you're going to be a winner in that. If you like to play quests and previously you just ran out of quests and you would have wanted to play more, well, now you can play 20 instead of 10, and with the increased XP, you're also going to be a winner of this patch. There's also some scenarios where you can be the loser. For example, if you try to wait until you get a blue or purple and then complete that, and then wait, well, that wait is now doubled from around 2 hours to around 4 hours each. So then you're going to get less XP if you really wanted to pick those blues and purples, and doing so by waiting, you're going to get fewer of those. But overall, I do like these quest changes. I do like the increased daily quest cap as well, because there's a lot of events nowadays that make use of quests, and 10 quests just isn't nearly enough for events, so this looks pretty sweet, I think. And then the next upcoming leaders, because we have the first Datamined info about this, but both of the leaders are a little bit complex, so I'm not sure. It's hard to understand them completely from data mines. We will have to wait for some official information, and also we know that there is a patch coming before these leaders come, because the patch that's going to make sieges and raids, that's going to open the LFR, basically the open queue for those, that patch is not live yet. So there's definitely going to be a patch before these leaders are actually going to be in the game, and that patch could also change things about them. But let's take a look at what data miners have found out about the leaders anyway. So Anub'arak Datamined. Anub'arak is going to cost 6, have 1600 health, 1.5 speed, so Anub'arak is slow. 50 damage with 2-second attack speed, so 25 DPS. Anub'arak deals hardly any damage. Anub'arak's traits are tank, armored, alright, Anub'arak is armored, that's wonderful, takes less physical damage, melee and charge. But what is that charge? There's no charge damage indicator on Anub'arak, but maybe it's related to Anub'arak's abilities, because Anub'arak has a couple of abilities. While in play, allied undead and beast minis summon a scarab beetle on deploy and death. Limit of 12 in-play scarab beetles. Alright, scarab beetles coming, and scarab beetles have 200 health, same as a skeleton. Their attacks apply 1 stack of poison, so not quite spiderlings, but half of that, no other damage. And there's potentially going to be a whole lot of those roaming everywhere. So if the beetles can actually just keep hitting and then the poison stacks don't wear off, then that could end up being a lot of damage, even though, like, first look is like they don't even deal any damage. But we'll see once we get to play with them. And Anub'arak can also burrow. It apparently deals 50 damage. I'm a little uncertain it deals 50 damage when it emerges, I guess. It gains immune and more speed while burrowed, so then it's going to... I think that charge is related to that burrow, so it's zooming everywhere, and the burrow has cooldown of 5.6 seconds. So Anub'arak is tanky, doesn't deal any damage basically, but it has a lot of beetles, and then those beetles are just going to poison everything, and if Anub'arak is going to burrow and move around and be immune, then Anub'arak might be really difficult to get rid of. But very hard to evaluate a leader like this. Anub'arak's talents have also been Datamined, so there's Regenerate. Regenerate 33% health when emerging from a burrow. So if Anub'arak just keeps going down and coming up and regenerating and you just can't kill it, hopefully, that would be really, really sweet. I expect these leaders to be strong because Blizzard said that these split leaders will be fairly powerful, so I think, and we have seen how powerful Malfurion is. And then there's Explosive Shells. Scarab beetles erupt on death, dealing damage to nearby enemies. Okay, and if there's tons and tons of beetles, that could be really strong. And Trapdoor at 50% health, summon 6 scarab beetles and temporarily submerge, avoiding attacks. Okay, I'm a little bit uncertain about that, but anyway, we'll see. Also, I'm not sure if these are all of Anub'arak's abilities and things, because, yeah, data mining, it's hard to find everything. But Anub'arak looks... I'm intrigued by Anub'arak. Anub'arak doesn't immediately look like, hey, that's a very strong hero. But it looks intriguing, and if there's going to be just tons and tons of those scarabs everywhere and you can't get that Anub'arak killed because it keeps burrowing and stuff, then that could be really, really fun. And then there's Orgrim Doomhammer. Orgrim Doomhammer Datamined, 3 cost, 1300 health, 200 attack with 2-second attack speed, so 100 DPS, okay, pretty good. Speed of 2, not very fast, tank melee. Horde and Blackrock allies deal double damage on their first attack. Goblin Sappers excluded. Double damage on their first attack, so Ono from the trees or the first attack modifier. That's powerful. Those are going to deal so much damage. And also, Orgrim is going to challenge the first enemy in sight to a Mak'gora, revealing his true strength if he's victorious. Gains more power the closer the duel was. So Mak'gora? In Warcraft lore, Mak'gora is an orcish ritual one-on-one combat to the death. So apparently in this game, somehow Orgrim's going to charge at an enemy and potentially taunt it. I don't know what happens with all the other minis. What happens with Orgrim and that mini, really hard to say from just seeing a few strings. But if Orgrim wins the Mak'gora, he gains area of effect attack, so he gains cleave, and he also heals himself. And he also gains more damage, depending on how much health he has left after he has won the fight. So if he's below 33%, his damage will become 260 instead of 200. Below 67%, his damage is going to become 240. And if he's above 66% health, then his damage is going to become 220. So DPS that divided by 2, so up to 130 DPS. Gromash deals, 168 DPS? So not quite Grom levels, but that's going to be an AoE attack with that damage, with that DPS. For a 3-cost mini, that's pretty tanky. And that's going to give all of your Horde and, yeah, minis extra abilities. So, oh boy, Orgrim looks really, really super sweet. Also 3-cost leader. We don't really have any 3-cost leaders right now. I mean, we have Jaina and we have Chaga. Those are the only cheap leaders. Cheap, tanky, potentially tons of damage. Orgrim looks wonderful. Anub'arak looks strange, but I see potential there as well. And Orgrim talents were also datamined, so Deathless Rage during the Mak'gora, refused to die, gaining cheat death and bloodlust for 3.5 seconds. Conqueror's Diplomacy, after winning the Mak'gora, the opponent uses the last of their strength to heal the full and join Doomhammer's side before bleeding out over 10 seconds, so you temporarily gain control of the minute that you beat the Mak'gora. And Rally the Clan, grant bloodlust to all allies on the board for 10 seconds upon winning the Mak'gora. So everything is around that Mak'gora, making it easier to win. Conqueror's Diplomacy doesn't look that strong, getting that mini for just a brief moment. And then that map-wide bloodlust for all allies. That could be very powerful as well. So yeah, I really look forward to the new split leaders. This is a little bit of a preview based on Datamined information so that you know to save your coins for these and you maybe have an idea of what you want to do. I mean, obviously we have Malfurion available right now, and Malfurion is really, really strong. So I can see if you want to spend some rare aromatics and stuff on Malfurion. But remember that these are also coming over the next 30 days. So interesting times ahead. So those are the undocumented features that have so far been discovered about this patch. The quest changes, some of which you had probably already noticed. And then Anub'arak and Orgrim Doomhammer coming to the game in the near future. Thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and a special thanks to all of my Patreon supporters, YouTube members and Twitch subscribers who make all of these videos possible.